Welcome to Art of Wellness Unscripted, the podcast where we dive deep into holistic health. Today I've got a new guest, Kris. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Kris Przybylski. I'm a registered nurse and I've recently retired. And I'm looking at starting my own podcast and helping people get healthy. What foods to eat, what foods to avoid, good supplements, good water source. Really good technology that's out there for frequency, healing, and good wellness. So this is my first endeavor talking on podcast, and we'll see how this goes.
I love it. Kris and I actually met each other at the naturopathic school in Michigan. What would you say from your experience working as a nurse during COVID? When did you think that you had the moment of where you felt like you woke up? Or did you wake up before?
I woke up, so when things first started to get a little questionable, a little dicey, I was like, there's something really not right about this. And I couldn't put my finger on it. But I knew that I was not ever going to take that jab. And I was trying to talk to my family and my friends about it, and some people were open, some people were not. But really, when my dad did take the vaccine, and after the second shot, he was dead sick 6 weeks later. And that's really when I was like, okay, there's something horribly wrong. And that's where, like once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And that's when I totally changed.
So that lit the fire.
Everything about me, every single thing, what I ate, what I put in my body, what I talked about. And that was it. That was the turning point on that day. He died on Father's Day of 2021. And that was the point where I was like, I'm all done with this realm. So I worked for another 4 years as a care manager, and I just kept waiting for the opportunity where I was like, okay, I'm all done with this. And that day came. And so I just recently retired, and now I've devised a class, which I've already taught once, it's called the New Medicine Cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very interesting. And 2 people in the class said that they would like me to come and teach again. And so they're getting that all together. And since now it's Thanksgiving and then Christmas, so I'm looking at what are my opportunities come January, February of next year.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. It went over very well. Like I put a lot of research into it. I gave a lot of information, which was probably too much information for 2 hours, but people had that knowledge now where they can go and investigate themselves. And really, knowledge is power, and everybody is responsible for their own health. So I look at myself is to provide the knowledge, provide the gate to open. People walk through, they have the information, and then they go do their own research. Because we're all responsible for ourselves. No matter what, everybody's responsible for themselves.
Absolutely. So what would you say to, let's say you were to run into a group of nursing students about to come out of nursing school? What advice would you say to them? Or what seed would you plant to them?
Not everything is as it seems. And so you have to use your own discernment as to what somebody is telling you to do. Mm-hmm. You have to do your own research. And you always have to question the narrative. Your brain looks like your small intestine for a reason. And that's why they say you have a gut feeling. Mm-hmm. So if your gut is telling you, wait a minute, stop. Let me think about this. Stop and think about it, and really ask yourself, okay, what's my role in this, and where should I be? And it really is okay to, if you're on the pathway and everybody's going to the left, it really is okay if you go to the right. Mm-hmm. You might meet back up with those people in the future, but it's okay if you stop and say, I have to think about that for a minute. I really just need to see where am I at, and I don't have that knowledge base yet to make that final decision. That's perfectly acceptable. I tell that to my patients all the time too. When I was a care manager, I was like, well, if that's not really what you want to do, you have to have a good conversation with the doc and the pharmacist. What's the side effect of this? What's the drug interaction of what they want you to take? That's your patient right to ask those questions. And people should be able to have that fortitude to say, this is what I know about the drug, this is what I know about this. Let's talk to the pharmacist. And people, I mean professional, nurses, doctors, to be okay with, all right, you don't want to do this, you want to think about this for a while, that's your patient right. When can we talk about it again? And I gave people that knowledge so that they felt the power within them, that they were like, I can say that? Yes, you can. And I still say that today to everybody. That's your free right. I tell my kids that all the time. When they were little, they were saying, well, could we do this? And I'd be like, okay, for today we can. Or if I said, no, you couldn't do that, I'd be like, okay, for today. And they still come back at me, 26 and 27, and I'm like, yeah, Mom, for today. So everything changes every day. It's a new beginning, change on a dime.
So from nursing school, I feel like this is something that most people aren't aware of, because when you have a nurse talking to you, you're going to believe everything they say. You're going to trust that they have all the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
How much education do you really get on vaccines in nursing school?
None. No information whatsoever. When we went into OB, if your MMR was not titer positive, you had to take the vaccine again. So I had to take that.
Wow.
And there are some nursing schools where all your vaccines, including the COVID vaccine, has to be up to par. So a religious exemption is a very good thing to check into. I had a medical exemption for the flu vaccine because I had extenuating side effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that. I took the flu vaccine once in my whole life. I've been a nurse for 40 years. So one time I took that. Had I known about the religious vaccine or religious exemption back then, I probably could have gotten a religious exemption and not had to take that. So for the COVID vaccine, I got a religious exemption. And I told my employer, I will get a religious exemption, because they were sitting on the fence whether or not they were going to get that. And I was like, okay, well, I will get a religious exemption. And I would say it was very close to when you had to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
They waited till the very last minute, and then they allowed a religious exemption. So bravo for them for stepping up to the plate and giving people the First Amendment right back.
Is it probably because their lawyer team suggested they might have to do that?
I don't know. I didn't ask any questions. I was just like, it's rather funny because I did the religious exemption and I never got a response back. And I was going, well, this is pretty weird. And so one of the managers said, it was 2 days before the deadline, they go, we don't have your exemption. And I said, I submitted it. And they're like, you need to call and find out. And they never got it. So I submitted it again, and within 5 minutes, I had it back. So, things happen. The universe causes many things to happen.
Yes.
So, with that happening, then that opened the door for something else. That opened my eyes for something else. Like, well, why did this happen? Like, all of a sudden, they didn't really even read it. Once you give one religious exemption, you have to give them all, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that's considered discrimination.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. Once I went and investigated that, I was like, oh, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
So, lots of things happen to people for a reason. And that's really where I'm in the situation that I am right now.
So for the religious exemption, let's say people have no idea how to obtain a religious exemption. Mm-hmm. What do they need to do? Is it something they get from their pastor?
No, you write it yourself.
You can write it yourself.
Write it yourself.
Oh.
So I went in to Google and I looked up keywords,
Mhm.
like what was important to me for my religious exemption. And there were there were pages of different quotes in the Bible regarding the wording that I wanted. So I took some of that and I typed it up, and it probably was about this long, and I submitted it.
I love that. So you
Yeah.
didn't even need to.
You don't need a pastor. God is inside us. He created us.
Absolutely.
We are in the image of God. So whatever we want, we can manifest that if we want.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? Because I know you learn in nursing school, it's about advocating for the patient.
Mm-hmm.
And from my experience I've had been in the hospital, when do you think nurses stopped advocating for the patient? Because it seems like that's what's going on.
So, I graduated in 1985, and patient rights were a very big topic back then. And I've worked in multiple hospitals in several states. And I was always the patient advocate. And what I noticed about 15 years ago, that kind of stopped. I personally didn't stop because I would go and say in a meeting, if it was said, well, this is what we're going to do, we're going to tell the patient X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just making this as a hypothetical. And I'd be like, wait, what about their patient rights? They have a right to decide if they want to do that or not. And I proceeded to say that for the last 5 years for the company that I worked for. What about the patient right? What's the policy? What's the patient right?
Mm-hmm.
The patient has a right to know this information. They have a right to choose. That's one of the patient rights.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's our responsibility to say, okay, if you don't like this plan, how about this plan? And I'll die on that hill. And I did every single day with many of the people that I talked to. If they would say, I don't like what was told to me. Well, that's your patient right. Go back and say, I don't like this choice.
Mm-hmm.
You're making a choice for me. I don't like this choice. And they'd be like, I can say that? I'm like, yes, that's your
Right. We can stand up for ourselves.
Yes. Go talk to the pharmacist and find out what are the side effects and the drug interactions, and what's the black box warning on the medications that you're taking. Once you know all of that, then you can have a good conversation with whomever is prescribing that to you. And then you have to decide, did you want to stand on your knowledge base, or are you going to do what somebody wants you to do? Because there's many choices out there. People just have to decide what they want to do. And I said to them, it's not for me to make that choice. I'm only here to give you knowledge. And you have to decide what to do.
I remember when we had class together, I remember learning, are you talking about how you were switching off of your blood pressure medication?
Mm-hmm.
And did you switch to black seed oil?
I am taking a long list of supplements, and I have weaned myself off of one medication. So I'm in the process of still weaning. Mm-hmm. I've been on that medication for 27 years.
Wow.
So it's not something that you can just
right.
stop cold turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's lots of things going on in the universe now, and the frequency is all changing, and things are happening. And we're all affected by that. Our body is affected mm-hmm. by that also.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of new technologies that are coming.
Mm-hmm.
The energy enhancement system, the magnetic bed that you were telling me about, the Tesla,
the biocharger.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of things that are coming that are going to be so positive for our bodies. People just have to have that knowledge to go check it out. Now, it's not free. It's not covered under insurance. I think in the future it will be. It will be a cost that everybody can swallow and pay for. But for right now, since it's so new, people have to pick and choose what they want to do.
Yeah.
Going to the energy enhancement, and because it's now in Oxford, which I'm so thrilled,
mm-hmm.
and it's $50 a session for an hour. Going up to the night school up in Mount Pleasant, where it's there, that that price has decreased to $36 an hour because it's paid.
Oh, okay.
So I think that as things start to get paid off, and I don't know that, like, nobody came and said this is it, but that's what I think that's what was implied,
Okay.
that it was paid for. So now they lowered the
price.
price, which I think that will happen to a lot of
Yeah.
the new technology. Once it is reimbursed, then that technology will decrease in price. So I'm really looking forward to all of that. I think that that's just so beneficial for mankind.
Would you mind talking about the truth about cholesterol and how in nursing school you're taught something else?
The hyperlipidemia.
Yeah.
So cholesterol is a hormone. It's a precursor to all the other hormones that your body makes. In the 1970s, when the statins came out, your cholesterol could be 300, and nobody blinked an eye about that. And then pretty soon the cholesterol kept dropping and dropping, and they linked it to hyperlipidemia and diabetes and cardiac issues. So that could be true, okay, but the cholesterol needs to be greater than 140. Otherwise, you stop making all of your other hormones, or your hormones are not made appropriately for your body. So I had one particular patient who had a heart attack, and the cholesterol was 157. And it was deemed that you had the non-STEMI, which is a non-ST elevated heart attack. So it's on an EKG, your ST segment isn't elevated. And they're like, well, that's because you have hyperlipidemia. And the person said, my cholesterol is 157. How can I have hyperlipidemia? Oh, your triglycerides are high. My triglycerides are 101. So your triglycerides have to be less than 150. And triglycerides have to do with eating. You're eating way too many carbohydrates, so your body is storing that in the liver, and that's why your triglycerides go up. So stop eating carbohydrates. You only need about, well, if you're a diabetic, they say you need 100 grams of carb per day at divided meals because your body can't process that. So do you have to be a diabetic in order to not be able to process your carbohydrates? Shouldn't everybody look at refined carbohydrates and not eat them? Because what is crap food?
Right.
Carbonated drink, refined sugar and flour, carbs, artificial flavor, processed foods. And then if you add an E on the end, it is enriched flours. So I have always said to my patients, here's your cholesterol. If it's under 200, okay, what statin are you on? And are you okay taking that? Go find out what the side effect is of taking a statin. Because I believe that your brain is made of cholesterol, and so is the myelin sheath, which makes all your nerves work. So if you're decreasing your cholesterol, what's it doing to your brain and your myelin sheath? So that's my take on the cholesterol. Everybody has to eat in moderation, and we need to change to good nutrition. And that really is where I want to go with the podcast that I'm going to do is good nutrition, good supplements. And what do you consider good? Because when I did talk to people, they'd be like, well, my cholesterol is good and I eat good. My next question back to them is, what do you consider good?
Right.
Because what they consider good may not be what I consider good. And there is no food that, I mean, you need to not eat bioengineered ingredient. You really need to eat as healthy as possible, good fruits and vegetables. Because I do think that the chart, what's it called? The pyramid chart? The food pyramid. It's upside down. So we really need to be having 6 foods, fruits and vegetables throughout the day, not 6 carbohydrate choices. And you have to have good exercise. So that will also help your cholesterol. Good exercise, good food, non processed foods, fruits and vegetables. What did they say in the? Did you take the nutrition part up at the night school? Did you go to that class?
Yeah.
And didn't they say that all the fruits and vegetables sit in the sun all day long, so they collect the natural sodium? So if the fruits and vegetables have sat in the sun, and we consume that, our bodies are able to consume that so much better than having the salt coming out of the mines that we put on our food, even though good mineralized salt is very good for our bones. But the sodium from fruits and vegetables sitting in the sun are so much easier to process.
I just made 16 ounces of organic celery juice this morning, and that's what I started my day off with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's full of those sodium cluster salts. It's amazing. It's so medicinal.
Yeah.
I love it. And I've done an experiment where I've juiced non-organic.
Yes.
And I juiced kind of is organic. The non-organic doesn't contain all those salts in there. The organic kind, it'll coat that whole cup.
Correct.
It's interesting.
Correct. It is very.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people couldn't afford organic because of all of the inflation that we're in. But I would tell them, buy as much organic as you can. Pick something for the week and buy. And don't over consume, like I have to buy this and this and this. Buy 2 things that are organic. And then if you're going to buy apples and you're going to buy lettuce. Okay, so put your apple in with your lettuce and then find some type of dressing that is also non-processed, and then that's what you eat till that's gone. And have a good protein. So now you have fruit and veggie. You're going to have some fat because you're going to pick a good dressing, and you're going to make some type of protein and have a little bit of carb. Have 33 grams of carb with your meal. And they're like, never thought about it like that. I said, so, and you can fast a little, so eat twice a day and then fast in between, have a good water source and, see how you do. If you're hungry, eat a little more protein.
I used to have a problem with gluten, and I went a whole month. This is before I really knew about organic. I just knew it's supposed to be better, right? And I think it was around when I got my tax return, so I had extra money. I was like, all right, all month, only organic. That's all I'm going to buy. So I did that. After that month, I no longer reacted to gluten, and I've never had a problem since. It gave my body ability to heal. And I remember learning studies they've done where they've had like families go organic, and then they check them before and after. And literally after like a week, and especially a month, it's like almost out of you.
Yeah.
It's really that easy.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
It's just changing what you consume. And a lot of times I would say change one thing at a time. Don't change everything, because then if something's working, you don't know if it's working really, or if it's not. If something's not working, you feel off. What you changed, you don't know. So change one thing at a time. Keep a good record. Keep a good diet record.
Good journal.
What time you ate? What did you eat? How did you feel? And then if you're doing well in 2 weeks, you made that change, then go ahead, make another change, and then keep going. And so if that second change didn't sit well with you, that was the problem. It just means it's the problem for right now with your body. It doesn't mean it's a problem for forever.
Yep.
So get back out of that, wait a couple of days, make another change. Keep your first change that's going well, and then you can see within, because people would like to lose weight. And I go, you really have to look at losing weight within a 6-month period. So you can't go week by week. Yes, you need to weigh yourself, but weigh yourself once a week and see where you're at. You don't have to weigh yourself every day. So if you lost 2 pounds in a week, so think about, okay, next week I'm still going to lose another 2 pounds. What am I doing this week that's working really well? And then think about in 6 months, if you're losing 6 to 8 pounds a month in 6 months, how much is that going to be? And you're still eating well, and you're looking at things in a different light. Don't look at like, I have to lose this much. No, go slow. You'll do a lot better.
Well, I'm worried about time because we got to take a field trip.
Yes, we do.
Dinner.
Yeah.
So I think we should wrap this up.
Okay. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me. This was really fun.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
We'll have to do this again once
Yes,
you guys get your podcast going.
Yes, we will. Stop button isn't stopping. There we go.